Imagine standing in a silent desert valley where no human voice has echoed for thousands of years. Beneath your feet lies a doorway sealed before the rise of the Roman Empire, before the birth of modern nations, before most of recorded history. The people who closed it believed it would never be opened again. They believed the secrets inside would remain protected for eternity. Yet one day, archaeologists broke that seal. What they discovered behind it didn't just reveal the life of a forgotten ruler. It transformed humanity's understanding of an entire civilization and forced historians to rewrite parts of history itself. The 4th of November 1922, 6 a.m. Valley of the Kings, Egypt. The desert was quiet except for the sound of workers clearing centuries of accumulated sand and rubble. British archaeologist Howard Carter had spent years searching for evidence that many experts believed no longer existed. The Valley of the Kings had already been explored extensively. Most archaeologists assumed every significant discovery had already been made, but Carter disagreed. For nearly 6 years, he searched the valley with little success. Funding was running low. Skeptics were growing louder. Some believed he was chasing a fantasy. Then everything changed. One worker uncovered a carved stone step hidden beneath layers of debris. At first, it seemed insignificant. But as more sand was removed, additional steps appeared. The staircase descended deeper into the earth. Carter immediately understood what this might mean. Ancient Egyptian royal tombs were often hidden below ground, protected by carefully designed entrances meant to conceal them from thieves. A staircase could mean only one thing. There was something beneath the valley. As excavation continued, the staircase revealed a sealed doorway covered with ancient plaster. More importantly, the plaster carried royal seals. The symbols appeared familiar. Tutankhamun, a name that, at the time, meant very little to most people. Today, Tutankhamun is perhaps the most famous pharaoh in history. But before 1922, he was largely forgotten. His reign lasted only about 10 years. Few monuments celebrated him. Few records described his achievements. Many historians barely considered him important. Yet behind that sealed door waited one of the greatest archaeological discoveries ever made. Days later, Carter carefully created a tiny opening in the doorway. Holding a candle, he looked inside. For a moment, he said nothing. The darkness slowly revealed shapes unlike anything he had ever seen. Golden statues stood silently in the shadows. Strange animal figures seemed frozen in time. Furniture lay stacked upon furniture. Objects covered every visible surface. Thousands of years had passed, yet the room appeared almost untouched. History itself seemed trapped inside. When asked if he could see anything, Carter reportedly replied that he saw wonderful things. Those simple words would become legendary. But even Carter could not have imagined how significant the discovery would become. The chamber beyond the doorway was only the beginning. Ancient Egyptian tombs were not simple burial sites. They were complex structures designed to ensure a ruler's survival in the afterlife. Every room served a purpose. Every object carried symbolic meaning, and somewhere deeper inside rested the king himself. The excavation moved slowly, extremely slowly. Modern archaeology did not yet possess the advanced technology available today. Every artifact had to be carefully documented, photographed, and preserved before it could be moved. The process took months, then years. Each new discovery raised more questions. Why had this tomb survived when so many others had been looted? Why was it still filled with treasure? And what else remained hidden beyond the visible chambers? The answers began emerging one room at a time. The outer chamber contained extraordinary objects, golden beds decorated with sacred animals, ceremonial chariots, intricately crafted weapons, boxes filled with personal possessions, jewelry of astonishing craftsmanship. Everything suggested unimaginable wealth. Yet the true significance of the tomb wasn't measured in gold. It was measured in information. For centuries, historians had reconstructed ancient Egyptian life using fragmented evidence. Tomb robbers had destroyed countless burial sites. Natural disasters damaged monuments. Entire chapters of history disappeared. Tutankhamun's tomb was different. It offered a nearly complete snapshot of royal life during one specific moment in ancient Egyptian history. For archaeologists, this was priceless. Every artifact acted like a page from a lost book. Every chamber preserved details that had survived for more than 3,000 years. And the deeper Carter's team explored, the more astonishing the discoveries became. Beyond the outer chamber stood another sealed doorway. Unlike the first entrance, this one carried an even greater sense of mystery. Ancient priests had closed it over 3,000 years earlier, believing they were protecting a king's journey into eternity. Now, modern archaeologists prepared to cross a threshold that almost no human being had crossed since the Bronze Age. Behind the doorway lay the burial chamber. What Carter found there stunned even experienced archaeologists. The room was dominated by enormous gilded shrines. One shrine enclosed another, then another, then another. Layer after layer stood between the outside world and the pharaoh. It was an architectural fortress built around a dead king. Each shrine was covered with sacred texts, protective symbols, and images of powerful gods. The ancient Egyptians believed death was not an end. It was a dangerous transition. The soul faced obstacles, challenges, and supernatural forces before reaching eternal life. The shrines were designed to provide protection during that journey. Removing them became a monumental task. Every panel had to be documented. Every inscription had to be recorded. Every piece had to be preserved. Only after months of work could archaeologists finally reach the stone sarcophagus hidden at the center. The moment represented the climax of years of searching. Inside the sarcophagus rested 3 nested coffins. The first was magnificent. The second was even more impressive. Then came the third. The innermost coffin left experts speechless. It weighed more than 240 pounds and was crafted from solid gold. Not gold-covered wood, not decorative plating. Solid gold. The craftsmanship was extraordinary. Even today, many experts consider it one of the finest examples of ancient metalwork ever discovered. But the greatest revelation was still waiting. Inside the golden coffin lay the preserved mummy of Tutankhamun himself. For more than 3,000 years, the young king had remained hidden from the world. Now, for the first time since ancient priests sealed the tomb, humanity was face to face with a ruler from one of history's greatest civilizations. The discovery transformed Egyptology almost overnight. Suddenly, historians possessed thousands of artifacts directly connected to a single pharaoh. Before this moment, much of what scholars knew about ancient Egyptian royalty came from scattered evidence. Now they had something unprecedented: a complete royal burial. The tomb contained over 5,000 individual objects: clothing, furniture, weapons, games, food offerings, religious items, jewelry, cosmetics, musical instruments, even simple everyday possessions. Together, these objects painted an incredibly detailed picture of life in ancient Egypt. For the first time, researchers could study not just how kings ruled, but how they lived. The discovery revealed details no surviving text had ever recorded. The sandals Tutankhamun wore, the walking sticks he used, the food prepared for his afterlife, the tools crafted by ancient artisans, the artistic styles of the royal court. Each object added another piece to a puzzle thousands of years old. Yet as archaeologists celebrated the discovery, a deeper mystery began emerging. Who exactly was Tutankhamun? The tomb contained extraordinary treasures, but the king himself remained surprisingly enigmatic. Unlike powerful rulers such as Ramses II or Thutmose III, Tutankhamun left relatively little evidence of military victories or political achievements. His reign lasted only about a decade. He became king as a child, and he died before reaching adulthood. Why had such a seemingly minor ruler received one of the most famous burials in history? The answer required historians to look beyond the tomb itself. Years before Tutankhamun became king, Egypt experienced one of the most dramatic religious revolutions in its history. His father, Akhenaten, attempted something unprecedented. He challenged centuries of religious tradition. Instead of worshiping Egypt's many gods, Akhenaten elevated a single deity known as Aten. Temples were closed. Ancient traditions were disrupted. Priests lost power. The entire religious structure of Egyptian society began changing. The experiment created enormous instability. When Akhenaten died, the kingdom faced uncertainty. It was during this period that Tutankhamun ascended the throne. Although still a child, his reign marked a return to traditional Egyptian beliefs. Temples reopened. Ancient gods returned. religious stability was restored. The discovery of his tomb helped historians understand this critical period far better than ever before. Artifacts, inscriptions, and symbols revealed how Egypt recovered from one of its most turbulent eras. What seemed like the burial of a minor king suddenly became a window into a major historical turning point. But another mystery continued haunting researchers. How did Tutankhamun die? For decades, theories multiplied. Some believed he was murdered. Others suspected political conspiracies. Several researchers proposed accidents. A few even suggested assassination. The mystery became one of archaeology's most famous unsolved questions. Early examinations of the mummy produced conflicting evidence. Damage to the skull led some researchers to suspect violence. Newspapers eagerly promoted theories of murder. Books and documentaries expanded the speculation. The public became fascinated, yet science would eventually challenge many of these assumptions. As technology improved, researchers gained access to tools Carter could never have imagined. CT scans, DNA analysis, digital imaging, advanced forensic techniques. These technologies revealed a far more complicated story. Tutankhamun appeared to suffer from several health problems. Evidence suggested genetic disorders within the royal bloodline. He may have experienced mobility issues. Some scans indicated injuries to his leg. Researchers also found signs consistent with infectious disease. The exact cause of death remains debated today, but modern evidence suggests his death was likely more complex than simple murder. Ironically, the mystery surrounding his death became part of his legacy. The young king who achieved little during his lifetime became one of the most studied individuals in human history, and every new technological advance continued revealing new details about his life. Yet perhaps the most astonishing revelation was not about Tutankhamun himself. It was about the civilization that buried him. The tomb demonstrated something historians had only partially understood before 1922. Ancient Egypt was not simply a kingdom of pyramids and pharaohs. It was a civilization built upon extraordinary organization, engineering, artistry, and belief. Every object inside the tomb reflected countless hours of labor. Gold had to be mined. Wood had to be transported across great distances. Artisans spent years mastering their craft. Priests performed elaborate rituals. Architects designed hidden chambers. Workers constructed burial complexes beneath solid rock. The tomb was not the achievement of one king. It was the achievement of an entire civilization. And that realization changed how scholars viewed ancient Egypt. Before the discovery, many people imagined ancient societies as primitive compared to the modern world. Tutankhamun's tomb challenged that assumption. The precision of the craftsmanship rivaled some of the finest work produced centuries later. The artistic detail was astonishing. The engineering behind the burial complex demonstrated remarkable planning. Even the preservation methods used during mummification reflected sophisticated knowledge developed over generations. The ancient Egyptians had created systems capable of preserving both bodies and history itself. In many ways, the tomb acted as a message sent across 3,000 years, a message that survived wars, empire, natural disasters, political upheaval, and the collapse of entire civilizations. Yet the story did not end with archaeology. Soon after the discovery, another narrative began capturing public imagination, a narrative that would become almost as famous as the tomb itself. The so-called Curse of the Pharaoh. The legend emerged shortly after the tomb's opening, when Lord Carnarvon, the financial backer of Carter's expedition, died unexpectedly in 1923, following an infection caused by a mosquito bite. Newspapers seized the opportunity. Sensational headlines spread around the world. Stories claimed that ancient forces were protecting the tomb. Rumors described mysterious deaths, unexplained illnesses, strange coincidences. The public was captivated. The idea of an ancient curse seemed irresistible. Over time, the legend grew larger. Every death connected to the expedition attracted attention. Every accident became evidence. Every coincidence became another chapter in the story. But when historians examined the facts, a different picture emerged. Most members of the excavation team lived long lives. Howard Carter himself survived for more than 16 years after opening the tomb. Many individuals closely associated with the discovery experienced no unusual fate at all. Yet the curse endured, because people are naturally drawn to mysteries, and Tutankhamun's tomb was filled with them. The discovery occupied a unique space between science and imagination. It represented one of humanity's greatest archaeological achievements, but it also awakened something older, a fascination with the unknown, a desire to believe that ancient civilizations still held secrets beyond our understanding. That fascination continues today. More than a century after the tomb was discovered, researchers are still studying its contents. New technologies continue uncovering details hidden in plain sight. Advanced imaging techniques reveal inscriptions previously overlooked. Chemical analysis identifies the origins of materials used in artifacts. Digital reconstructions allow experts to recreate ancient environments with extraordinary accuracy. Every generation asks new questions, and every generation discovers new answers. Yet, perhaps the most remarkable aspect of the story is how close the tomb came to remaining hidden forever. Before Carter's discovery, excavation debris from earlier expeditions covered the entrance. Workers had unknowingly walked above it. Archaeologists had searched nearby. The tomb remained concealed by chance and circumstance. If a few events had unfolded differently, it might never have been found. The treasures could have remained underground for centuries longer. History might have lost one of its greatest opportunities to understand the ancient world. That possibility highlights an important truth about archaeology. Many of humanity's greatest discoveries are still waiting. Beneath deserts, inside mountains, under forests, buried beneath modern cities, hidden below the ocean floor. Countless chapters of human history remain undiscovered. Every year, archaeologists uncover new evidence that reshapes our understanding of the past. Lost cities emerge from dense jungles. Ancient settlements appear beneath farmland. Forgotten shipwrecks reveal long-lost trade networks. Buried temples challenge accepted timelines. The past is far from finished. In fact, some experts believe we have uncovered only a small fraction of humanity's ancient story. And that's what makes the opening of Tutankhamun's tomb so significant. It wasn't simply about treasure. It wasn't simply about gold. It wasn't even about one pharaoh. It demonstrated what becomes possible when a forgotten door is opened. One sealed chamber transformed archaeology. One hidden tomb rewrote textbooks. One discovery provided answers to questions historians had been asking for generations. Yet, at the same time, it created entirely new mysteries. Questions about royal families. Questions about religion. Questions about politics. Questions about death itself. The more researchers learned, the more they realized how much remained unknown. And perhaps that is the greatest lesson of all. History is not a completed story. It is an ongoing investigation. Every artifact is a clue. Every excavation is a question. Every discovery reveals a little more of humanity's shared past. Somewhere tonight, beneath layers of earth and stone, another forgotten chamber may still exist. Another sealed doorway. Another untouched tomb. Another secret, waiting patiently in the darkness. Just as Tutankhamun's tomb waited for more than 3,000 years, waiting for the moment someone would finally uncover it. Waiting for history to speak once again. And if the next great discovery is made tomorrow, it may reveal something even more astonishing than a golden coffin hidden beneath the sands of Egypt. Because the greatest secrets of the ancient world are often the ones we don't yet know exist. What do you think archaeologists will uncover next? And could another sealed tomb be hiding a discovery capable of changing history all over again? If you're ready to uncover more forgotten mysteries from humanity's past, there's another story waiting just beyond this one. Every chapter of history holds more than just facts and dates. Hidden within its pages are forgotten stories, unanswered questions, and mysteries that continue to intrigue us to this day. In today's episode, we explored one such mystery. If you have your own thoughts, theories, or information about this story, we'd love to hear them in the comments below. And if you haven't watched our previous investigations, be sure to check out the videos on your screen. You may discover another fascinating mystery waiting to be uncovered. To continue this journey into the hidden corners of history, subscribe to Dust Veil History and turn on notifications so you never miss a new episode. Thank you for spending this time with us. Until we meet again, we'll be searching for another untold story and another mystery buried deep within the pages of history. See you in the next episode.